you're watching the Bird's Eye View Election Edition, live from Washington, D.C. So let's get started. I'll be making my predictions on a few different states, and I'll start out with Iowa. I spent a good amount of time in Iowa during the Democratic primaries, and that will actually go into my prediction. Okay, it was on a good roll. What's happening?
Well, keep going. I never stopped you. Go ahead. I didn't stop you. I just grabbed your phone. I never said you had to stop. Go ahead.
I'm Phoenix, and you're watching the Bird's Eye View Election Edition, live from Washington, D.C. So let's get started. I'll be making my predictions on a few different states. I'll start out with Iowa. Now, a lot of what's going into my prediction of Iowa is what I noticed during the 2020 Democratic primaries back in February and before. And back during the caucus, Joe Biden didn't do so well. There was not like any super big. He did not do well. I just say he didn't do well in the caucus. Driving around, I see Pete signs sometimes, and also maybe see a Bernie sign. I didn't ever really see a Biden sign. So he did not do super well. And it wasn't like there was this enthusiasm like, let's go vote for Joe Biden. Let's get him to the White House from beginning to end. No, it was, oh, now he's the candidate. So maybe let's get him into the White House. And maybe that doesn't mean that there's not enthusiasm there. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe that'll hurt him because it's not like there was enthusiasm for Joe Biden in the first place. Now, President Trump, for example, I mean, you had a lot of people come out, even when he was the only candidate, like pretty much the only candidate. You had a lot of people coming out to vote for him. And whenever I drive, I see so many Trump signs in Iowa compared to Biden signs. And I don't know, there's just that enthusiasm that's like been there for him for the start. So I'm going to have to go Iowa. I think President Trump will win Iowa. So that's my prediction on Iowa. And now I want to go to Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is being kind of brought up as a swing state a little bit recently. Spent a good amount of time in Minnesota talking to people. But to be honest, Minnesota's been his Democratic stronghold, and I don't think President Trump will get Minnesota. So I think Joe Biden will take the state of Minnesota. And now I want to talk about Wisconsin, another state I was able to spend some time in. This one's really, really, really difficult for me. I feel like there's some energy for both candidates. You know, you see these rallies that President Trump's had. I've covered rallies there in Wisconsin. This one's really hard for me. I don't think it'll be a landslide by any means. I think it'll be very, very tight. But I do think President Trump will take Wisconsin, maybe. I don't know. That's a really hard one for me. But I do think President Trump will take Wisconsin. But again, I think it will be a very small margin. So I think President Trump will take Wisconsin. Now, that's a hard one for me. I'm going to kind of put it as a toss-up. If anybody really, like I could say, whether it's Joe Biden or Trump, I think Trump will get it, but it's really it's like a toss-up. But we'll see what happens. Now, my other state I'm talking about is a little bit of a toss-up, but it's not. It's Michigan. I spent a good amount of time in Michigan. I've talked to people there, and trade is really important to them, and I've talked to people who feel that President Trump has done great for the state of Michigan. I also know on the conservative side, there are people that are pretty fed up with the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, but that's kind of a whole different story, but, so I think maybe there's some people who are really, really excited to get out to vote for President Trump. So I think President Trump will take Michigan. Now, it's not as big of where I think, okay, Trump will take Iowa, I think. But it's also not as tight as Wisconsin. So it's kind of tough for me. But I think that President Trump will take Michigan. Now, the other state I want to talk about is Ohio. Now, Ohio, I got to go to some really interesting counties there, such as Lorain County. It went for Obama twice, and a pretty big margin. But in 2016, no, it did not swing red. It didn't go for President Trump, but it almost did. It barely went for Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton won Lorain County by a 0.1% margin. A 0.1% margin. And I talked to people there, it's kind of enthusiasm both sides. It's a little bit, that county itself is a little bit of a toss-up for me. But again, it didn't go really red back in 2016. Now, not Lorain County, Ashtabula County, which borders Erie County, so it borders Pennsylvania. It's in the far northeast corner of Ohio. Now that was a pretty interesting county. It swung twice for Obama in the double digits. And then even before 2000, in 2004, it went Democrat. But in 2016, not only did it didn't just barely make it for Republicans, it went big for Republicans, double digits. I think it was like 18.8. I think I have that here. I'm gonna confirm, make sure I get that right. Yeah, it went for Trump 18.8% after Obama got it by 13.5% in 08, and in 2012 he got it by 12.8%. So I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting. I talked to somebody there who said he had his best job he ever had was shipped to another country. So, he's like, I lost my job and now it's in Mexico, and he feels like, what was really important to me was I saw Trump. He was an outsider. He goes, I'm voting for him again because I think he's done really well with jobs. And I talked to other people there, so I think he'll probably win that county. But in this energy, I'm seeing way more Trump signs going across Ohio. I do think President Trump will take the state of Ohio. And, it's really the reason I stated. I think there's an enthusiasm for him there. Now, my last state I want to talk about is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is an absolutely beautiful state, especially in the fall. And I've really enjoyed spending time there. So is Michigan, actually. Beautiful, beautiful fall colors. And I remember when I was down in Nashville and I was listening to the debate, and Joe Biden talks about, we'll slowly move away from oil. We'll move away from oil and maybe convert to wind energy. And I was like, okay, well, that's a pretty big statement. And Pennsylvania is a pretty big oil and fracking state. So what will the people of Pennsylvania think? So I was like, all right, let's go up there and talk to them. So we did. And I was, hearing from people that didn't even work in the oil industry, too. Okay, this is a big part of our economy. I know friends, I have family that work in the oil industry. And I also people that actually worked in the oil industry themselves. It's like, these are our jobs. We cannot lose them. And that's why I'm voting for President Trump. Now, Joe Biden has said, well, when we do wind energy, it will create millions of jobs there. I don't know. We'll see that how it'll win over voters, but I think President Trump will take Pennsylvania by a pretty good margin, actually. Not like 18.8% or something like that, like at Ashtabula County, for example. But I think maybe by around a 3% margin, maybe 5% margin, but I'm guessing around 3% margin, President Trump will take Pennsylvania. So those are my predictions. A couple of states I've been in, talking to people on the ground. It's been really fun. I love going around the country talking to all of y'all. It's been absolutely incredible. I can't believe Election Day is finally here. But yeah, those are my predictions. We'll see how it turns out. As I say, it's been an absolute blast. And we'll see what happens after the election. Well, thank you for watching my Bird's Eye View Election Edition live from Washington, D.C. I'm Phoenix with Phoenix Rising in America, and you're watching here, and this is our country. I got that mixed up there a little bit. That's